This is the User Adoption Podcast with your host, Henrik de Gyor.
Who are you and what do you do?
I'm Yoko. I'm head of growth at NewsPicks.
I'm Jing, and I am the head of user engagement at NewsPicks. NewsPicks is a mobile application we launched in December of 2017. And as of June, we've grown to about 150,000 users. We are essentially a knowledge sharing app. We bring together the best news stories of the day and couple that with extremely smart commentary from our users. We ask our users, who tend to be, news junkies, they really love current affairs, they want to participate in media, to actually take some time out of their day to critically think about real issues and real stories and share their insights, share their analysis, share their stories. And that creates this very robust community that is engaging on the news at a higher level, at a different level than exists today in digital communities. And we really are combating trolls, we're combating the noise that exists in content out there today, and we're really building a haven for people who genuinely care about the news and want to participate in being a good global citizen.
How are you involved with user adoption?
Yeah, so I'm involved with top funnel. So I'm involved in paid channels, organic channels to bring more users to the platform.
And Yoko and I also work on brand together. We figure out the messaging that really tells the story of who we are, what our mission is, and try to figure out whether that resonates with users, who that resonates with, and whether that is the right sort of message that shares our story. I also work on product, looking at the features and tools that we should be developing, figuring out what we need to prioritize that resonates the best with our users as well.
What are the biggest challenges and successes with user adoption?
From marketing standpoint, I'm really seeing that people value a community or the platform like NewsPicks, originally from Japan, and we had a big success there, but launching it here, and people are actually needing the platform like this where they can discuss the news with the community of smart professionals without getting trolls and things like that. So I'm seeing that from user acquisition standpoint and also retention standpoint. Users are sticking with us for a long time and they're very engaged. So I really see that it's doing great so far. And yeah, that's what I feel.
I think it's sort of along the same line. One of the biggest successes and one of the biggest encouragements is that we are talking to our users and they are very much understanding the message and the mission that we're all about. We're an app that is seeking to empower users to share their knowledge, share their insights, share their perspectives, discuss the news, and do it in a thoughtful manner that uses critical thinking, that harkens to their own experiences, where they feel comfortable doing that. And as we kind of talk to users, that message is really resonating without us having to overtly say that. And I think that's super important with user adoption, because it shows that just on an organic level, we are finding the right people and they are understanding us.
The challenges would be that, it's a platform that requires the quality of comments. Everybody makes smart comments on the articles, on the topics of the day. So you have to kind of stop and think through what you want to say and bring to the platform. I think it's not like random comments you're expected. So I think that's a challenge.
Yeah, getting the right people who are doing that, who understand that they need to stop and think about it. They need to take a little bit of time and effort to craft a comment around the story is really difficult. We're trying to get as many people as possible to try out NewsPicks, to see what we're all about and to adopt the platform, but we have to also balance that with quality. In order to strike the right balance, we have to make sure that we are being very careful about crafting the right community and making sure that we're encouraging our users to do the right things when it comes to common quality. And so, getting getting as many people to adopt the sentiment and the community and the app as possible without sacrificing quality, I think, is our biggest challenge.
I agree.
And what advice would you like to share with people working on improving user adoption?
Yeah, I would say, so we're like a real startup and, we're a small team, but we make iteration to the product very quickly, and we launch it every week based on user feedback. And also, we run a lot of experiments. So we make a decision very quickly, but at the same time, I think not rushing to make a decision is also critical. That's one thing I can say about that.
So I think that this is a really sort of cliche thing that people say a lot, but it really can't be overestimated how important it is really understanding who your users are. Yoko and I have been doing a lot of user interviews where we are talking to people, real people, getting not just how they use our app or how they don't use our app, how they like or not like our app. We're actually trying to understand who they are as people. So building personas essentially is really important. And I think the advice that I would impart is to be very patient about it, because you might get a lot of information that you think is not useful at all to sort of improving your product or figuring out how to get more users. But in fact, it is, because you are getting a deeper understanding of the needs and desires and the drives that your targeted audience have. And that's super important. And it can't be understated how important that is. And it's one of those things that takes a lot of time to put together, to set up the interviews, to actually sit down and talk to people, to let them tell you about their dog or their cat or their children. And at the end of the day, when you go over your notes, you suddenly realize that you have built this great sort of corpus of knowledge and understanding of who you're trying to attract. And that's incredibly important.
Where can we learn more about user adoption and your work on the subject?
Since I've been in a growth area, or I've been in marketing for quite a while, and I check growthhackers.com very often to kind of get inspiration for new experiments, new tactics for marketing. So check Reforge for inspiration for growth hacking. Yeah, that's the main channel for me.
For me, I really recommend the book Hooked. It talks a lot about how to develop habits in an app or a service. And I learned a lot about really understanding user behavior and developing products to serve, to basically help users get used to this app and understand what you're doing and also fall in love with it. Hence the name of the book, Hooked. I would say also just sort of similarly understanding behavioral economics and reading about, drives and motivations that are related to what you want to build is helpful for further developing strategies on user adoption.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. No, we appreciate it.
For more on this, visit useradoptionpodcast.com. Don't forget to please subscribe, rate, and review. And for a book about this, check out useradoptionbook.com. Tune in next week for the next episode. Thanks for listening.